And so with that, I will go ahead and pass the buck on to our Central Coast fierce advocate and justice warrior that's been holding it down out there and really leading some campaigns, Miss Esther Malkin, one of our e-board members.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all. So just in case some of you haven't heard, we have a situation here in Salinas that's really, really critical, and everybody in this state should be paying attention to it, because I guarantee you that the whole real estate lobby is and will be converging on our state, particularly with what's going on here. So we had a city council in Salinas put in place for rental protections. And as soon as the election happened, they were all removed by a ton of money that was poured into that election, record numbers, to displace all of them but one. And their very first order of business was to repeal all of those ordinances. So the residents rallied, and they got the signatures needed for them to get it on the ballot, which really is great for the renters because they will stay in place. Those ordinances will stay in place protecting them until the election. But what we know is going to happen is what we see happen every time we have something on a ballot statewide. Whether it was, Prop 33 and 34 or Prop 10 way back, the real estate lobby from the whole country converges, and they pour a ton of money onto these campaigns to fight and confuse the renters to vote against their own best interests. So there's been a huge effort, a lot of statewide participation to help gather those signatures and get the ball rolling. But it's really important that everybody understand what's happening and following, because depending on how it goes down, any jurisdiction that has any protections in place already are going to be at risk to have the same thing happen to them. So yes, we got the ballot, but now's when the real hard work begins, because as we all know, they are going to do everything they can so that that ballot measure goes the same way that the others have. So it's really important for all of us to understand that we must get the renter vote out. We have tried doing it in our jurisdictions here in Monterey, and when you hyper focus on the renter vote, you can actually get things to go your way. But it takes a lot of effort to get the renters to understand that they have to get out and vote, because while the money might not be in our favor, we have the numbers in most of our jurisdictions. The majority of the residents are renters. So it's really important for us as a state party, nationally, and individual jurisdictions to start really focusing on getting the renter vote out. Because with this many renters in our state, it's over 17 million, and that's growing. We've seen data that showed that home ownership has grown a third of the amount of renters. And even while we're losing renters leaving the state, and while homelessness is increasing, we know for a fact that renters are gaining numbers because less and less people can afford to buy homes. So what happens is the homeowners and the business owners are the ones that always turn out, but we've got to get the renter vote out. And it's going to take a real concerted effort of going door to door. And we're going to hold town halls, teletown halls. We're going to do webinars. We're going to do an effort, but we need this really to get statewide attention, because it is going to happen again. And we've got to show them that we're not going to continue doing things the way that we have in the past. So anybody who's interested in, finding out more detail, feel free to contact any of us on the Renters Council. But this is the main topic here. And I can tell you, if you get the renter vote out in these jurisdictions that are a majority, they will get people elected that need to protect the renters. We did it here in Monterey. This council has had the most diverse council in the history of the city. And the only way we did it is by going straight to the renters. We need to do that as a party. We need to do it as individual residents. And the closer we get to the elections, we're going to have to really start getting organized on that. We
Yes.
really need to get the renter vote out. Renters don't feel like they're part of their communities because the minute that their rent goes up, they move over to another jurisdiction that they can afford because they can't afford to live where they are. So they have to be made to feel like government cares about them and not just about getting donations for the party from them. We need to make them understand what matters in one jurisdiction affects the whole region. We had,
Yes.
for example, a new development go up here in Seaside that everybody was making a big deal about. And it ended up being that is, aside from it's only 20% affordable and inclusionary and limited to 5 years, but they made the actual rent so high that it actually threw off our whole market rate for the region. So the point is what happens in one jurisdiction matters to all of us. And it's important for us to try and work together to make renters understand the concepts that they don't, to make them feel like they are being spoken to. And that applies to every single jurisdiction, every single candidate, and our whole party. We haven't done a good enough job of doing this. We cannot afford to continue doing things the way that we have. So start getting organized now. Try and get some people together in your areas to participate in any renter, organization, or talk to your central committees. Get them to register voters that are renters. Go to the colleges. Do all of that before the election. If we wait until 2 or 3 months before the election, too late. We need to get them involved now to understand that this party cares about them.
Has your message has resonated with a lot of folks, and it continues, and it's only growing. And Esther has been the staunchest advocate for doing this, and we all know it. We all hear her. We all know that's what we need to do, and it takes work. I know that Esther does a great job at pushing that information to the greater body, and she's going to be your excellent supporter to make sure that we can get the rest of the Renters Council online. And I think this is the very reason why we all came together and put this Renters Council together, because this is the actual work that's going to change the lives of so many Californians. And so with that, thank you once again, Esther.